Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you some cards that, I recently got as gifts, and then I'm going to talk to you about a card show that I was at over the weekend. This happens to be December the 8th is when I'm doing this video, and it's the day that they're deciding on the Classic Committee Hall of Famers. And we've done a bunch of videos on that, but today's the day we find out who's going to be added to the Hall of Fame. And also, I believe it's the day after, December 7th, the day after Johnny Bench's birthday, who happens to be my favorite player. And I believe it's Wayne Gretzky's birthday as well. So happy birthday to them. If I'm wrong about Wayne Gretzky, I apologize. But I, too, received something in the mail from Bradley Claus. And I thought Bradley Claus was made up. I thought he was a fiction of everybody's imagination. Something you dreamed about as a kid, and you just never did see him. But listen, I got contacted by Bradley Claus, and this dude is amazing. Again, I've heard people say, "Oh, I don't know how he does it." He must watch a lot of videos, because here's my letter from him. And it says, "Merry Christmas, Chris. I hope you and the family are doing well. Here is something a little different than you normally pick up. I hope you enjoy it. Your friend, Brad, 8671. Well, again, I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he has elves making these things or what, but it's a numbered card of my favorite player today, Salvador Perez. And it's autoed, and it's even numbered. And I'm going to enjoy this for a long time, and I'm going to remember where I got it because I labeled the back of it. And so I'll be able to recognize it. But look at this beautiful Salvador Perez card. And Brad, I don't know how you do it, but I hope to be able to maybe do something in kind sometime. And then, so also, I want to show a couple cards that I got. One at the National from my friend Mookie. He gave me a rookie card of George Brett. Now, I have a rookie card of George Brett, but this one means a lot to me and will stay in my collection for a long time. And the reason I'm going to remember who it's from is I got it labeled my friend Mookie right here. And this is a 1975 George Brett rookie card. What a beautiful card. And the last gift, before I talk to you about this card show that I was at, comes from my new friend Emerson. If you remember the story about Emerson, Emerson's like a 10-year-old young lady that I met at a card show in Columbia, and her dad came up, and she got a gift from me and Maurice, the last little bit of the card show. We were able to give her a Caitlin Clark card, and we love it when we see young kids collect, and love her reaction to it. Well, the next card show she found me, and she gave me a 1952 Wheaties Phil Rizzuto, and she had watched my show, her and her dad, and she knew what card I needed. And so I decided I want to get this graded, and I did. And this is a 1952 Wheaties Phil Rizzuto, gifted to me by my friend Emerson. And I'm going to know it's from Emerson for a long time because it's on the back of my card. And I really appreciate the gift. And don't these 1952 Wheaties look special? So, this past weekend, I was at a card show with, I probably shouldn't mention his name because he might get in trouble, but my friend Tom. And Tom's been my friend now for a little over a year and a half, and we've traveled to shows together. I had some business up in Lee Summit, and so did Tom. And we just so happened to meet up in Lee Summit, Missouri. It's right outside of Kansas City. And they have a big show a few times a year, 4 or 5 times a year. They have a real big show in the John Knox Village. Well, this was not. This was in a VFW where it's about 30 tables. And the guy that runs the show is the same guy that runs the big show. But he sets up this show at the VFW, and he rotates the people that set up at the show as dealers. So you never know what you're going to get when you get in there. But I went to this show, this past year. They had one there. My friend Joey and my friend Mauricio and Billy, and I believe that's it. We all went to the show and then went to the Negro League Museum and then went out for barbecue afterwards. And we were actually there that time for maybe 20 minutes. We went in, all of us found one little thing and left because almost all of it was new stuff. But this time it was more, even the last time we went, there was hardly any vintage. This time there was even less vintage. And the last time, each of us picked up a card or two. Boom, we got out of there and went to the Negro League Museum. This time there was less vintage, and I met up with my friend Tom. We were in there for a little bit, mainly because it was crowded and it was hard to get to any tables. But I think if you even ask my friend, he'll tell you, man, there wasn't much vintage there at all. But I met a guy that was going around trying to sell some cards, and I bought a card off of him. And this is just for player run, but I bought this 1958 Bob Lemon. Sometime, I'm sure in Showcase Showdown, Bob Lemon will turn up on the wheel this season, next season, or sometime. So I got this to help with my Bob Lemon run. And then I found another guy he actually was a dealer at a table, and I think he had 4 cards. And, well, no, I take that back. This one was from a guy walking around as well. Sorry, this one was a guy walking around as well. He's got an incredible T206 collection. He completed it, all except the 4 impossible cards. And anyway, he sold me this at a reasonable price. And this is Enos Slaughter. Well, before we left that day, a young lady and her dad came up. And again, I don't know how old she was, anywhere from, I'm guessing, 10 to 13 or 14 years old. I don't know. She's a lot smarter than most kids that I know. I asked her, I said, what do you collect? She came up and said hi to me, first of all, and said she watched my show, and her name is Finley. And what a pretty cool name. First girl that's a friend of mine that I talked about earlier is Emerson, and this young lady's name is Finley. Now, what cool names, what unique names they have. But I asked Finley, I said, what do you collect? And she goes, oh, I don't know. I like vintage stuff. And first of all, I just smiled real big when I heard that because I hear it coming out of this young voice. And then she said, I collect Aaron Judge and Mickey Mantle. And I'm like, okay, wow, this girl collects Mickey Mantle. And her dad, I think they just enjoy collecting cards together and going around to card shows, and had a nice conversation for a few minutes, and it was nice seeing her. So I just kind of wanted to mention her because I didn't have to, even if I didn't pick up a card, just my conversation with her would have made my trip worth it. But anyway, as we were going around, my friend Tom and I, we looked, and there was a Joe Jackson blankets card. Those ones, I think they're from 1914 to 1916. And it was Shoeless Joe Jackson. And I almost, when you go to a card show, you want to buy something. You want to buy something most of the time. And if I'm going to travel 2 hours to their card show, I want to spend a little bit of money and come home with something. But I couldn't pull the trigger. One, I don't have any of the blankets in my collection, so I'm not really knowledgeable about them. But two, coming up with $2,000, pretty tough thing to do, and so we turned it down and walked off. But uh, the same dealer Tom showed me, he had these cards right here, and I ended up coming home with two pretty nice cards. And it's a 1914 Polo Grounds game card of Christy Mathewson. And this is 1914. So if you're looking for a not so expensive way to get into some Christy Mathewson cards, this is the way you can go if you like the way they look. But I wanted to pair it up, and I'm telling you, I've been on a Ty Cobb run this year. Had a big year on picking up Ty Cobb cards. And that Christy Mathewson was sitting there all paired up. And I thought Ty Cobb would be lonely since Christy Mathewson left him. So I picked up a 1914 Polo Grounds Ty Cobb. Now this is playing day card, and it's not that expensive as far as Cobb cards go. This is in a grade of 4. I love it. It's going to look really good sitting next to those other cards. But anyway, the card show, we left the card show, and I had a great time at a card show. Those of you that are watching this, I bet you guys have good times at card shows as well if you get to go. But we went to eat in Lee Summit, Missouri. Tom and I did. We met Tom's wife and had just a wonderful lunch. If you're ever around Lee Summit or Kansas City, and want to go to a nice restaurant, there's one in Lee Summit called Third Street Social, and give it a try. I recommend it. But my time at that card show was fun. Great time as always with Tom. Great time meeting Finley. I really appreciate Mookie and my friend Emerson for the gifts, and Bradley. Thank you so much. There's so many. You're so good to the hobby, and you made so many people smile this year. And guys, I'm going to try to do a few more of these videos. We got the Hall of Fame being updated today. I plan on doing something to update that with my Just a Little Bit Outside video, which will be next Thursday. And remember, guys, it is just a hobby. Collect what you like.